Let me ask you, Ziggy, about Green Bay right here. If they wind up going to Philadelphia, that's something that a lot of Packers fans were hoping to avoid. It looked like they would avoid it this entire season. They might actually have the Jalen Hurts injury to thank for this, because that's, in my opinion, what allowed the Commanders to win that game against the Eagles a couple weeks ago and make all this possible. But if if the Packers wind up going to Philly, with how fed up the Green Bay fan base is right now after Sunday's game against the Vikings, do you think them going in there, is that a matchup where you're like, oh, they're done, they're going to Philly, they're screwed? Or do you think the Packers, I think they could go in there and beat Philadelphia. I really think they can.
I would.
I'll say two things here because Paul did ask me. One thing I'll say just
I'll back off.
Take it easy, Jack. People are acting like the Commanders beating the Cowboys is a sure thing. The Commanders are only 3.5-point favorites. There's still a real chance that the Commanders lose that game. So that's not totally set. But the question you asked was what happens if Green Bay is to go into Philadelphia? Here's the thing about that game. The Eagles are the better team. It's true. Everybody knows that's true. But there is a way to beat this Eagles team. And it comes in 2 steps. Step 1 is limit the ground game. Obviously, Saquon's going to have a good game, but he doesn't have to have a great game. And the second thing you have to do is get pressure on Jalen Hurts and screw up the passing game. If you can do those
stop the run, stop the pass,
the Packers can win. Yeah, but I know that sounds silly, but here's the thing: the Packers have a good run defense. Even in the game against the Vikings, we saw, right? They were able to limit Aaron Jones. Like, this run defense is good, especially with Edgerrin Cooper stepping up. I think that their run defense is one of the best in the NFL. And Jalen Hurts is prone to having weird games. It happens sometimes. He's just off. I mean, it feels like it was only a couple weeks ago, because it was only a couple weeks ago when A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, it felt like they were publicly feuding because of how bad the passing game was and because people weren't happy. This passing game is not perfect, especially if Jalen Hurts doesn't play this week, which I'd imagine. I don't know if he will be able to play or won't. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm guessing they'll keep him out.
But we could be looking at him going 3.5 weeks without playing a game. It's definitely possible he comes out and looks a little bit rusty. It's definitely possible that he comes out and isn't immediately lights out. Now, again, the Green Bay offense needs to play better than they did against the Vikings.
Yeah, they lose to anyone if they play
better. Needs to play better than they did against the Vikings. But Green Bay, it feels like they're the sort of team that has a chance of winning this. I think the defense could do it. I really do think they will shut down Saquon Barkley, or at least limit him. So the question just comes, can they get the secondary healthy? I think they can. Can Jordan Love play better football? He'll be coming off a great game. I think it's possible. He's going to have a great game against the Bears. We all know it. Like, it's a must-win game for the Packers, hosting the Chicago Bears with nothing to play for. Jordan Love's thrown for 500 yards and a dozen touchdowns. Put him in your daily fantasy lineups. Yeah, I can see it happening. That's what I'm saying. Will it happen? I don't know, but I see the vision.
Green Bay is the one, assuming Green Bay does get the 7. And again, I do think Dallas can knock off Washington. I mean, Dallas just beat the Bucs at home, right? Didn't they?
Dallas yes.
No, I mean, I think Dallas will be up to play.
But no CeeDee Lamb.
That's a big hit. But I mean, I don't think it's a guarantee that Dallas loses the Commanders. So, but assuming that Green Bay does get the 7 seed, if Washington goes in there and escapes Dallas, that's the 1-7 seed, the one team where Philly's probably like, oh, crap, like Green Bay. Played week 1, it was close. A team with firepower. One of probably only 3 teams who could beat them. Like, I'd so much rather see the Commanders. I'd so much rather see anyone else in that.
2 division winners, the Rams and the Bucs,
than the Packers. And look at last year's Packers, 7 seed, go to Dallas. Everyone thought Dallas was great. Didn't lose a game at home all year. Playoff Packers, Jordan Love went in there and scored 50 points on them.
The Packers are weird, where I think they can beat anyone in any situation. Like, it just depends. Does Jordan Love show up, or like when you're watching them play, it's very clear when Jordan Love has it and he doesn't. And I was rewatching some of the last drives in the Viking game, and with my dad today, and he just went like, "Geez, when he's on," and then that's what it comes down to.
I think this might sound
make fun of us for saying that kind of stuff sometimes, right? We see a million comments like, "Oh, of course Jordan Love needs to play well," but like Jared Goff, he's going to play good football. You also know he's probably not going to take over the game the way Jordan Love can. Like, with Jordan Love, the highs are higher and the lows are lower, I think, than anyone in the NFC except maybe Hurts.
I think his highs are higher than Hurts. The lows might be the lows of Hurts might be lower, but I think the high of Jordan Love is probably the highest in the conference outside of maybe Stafford.
Packers fans, do you get high on Jordan Love?
I think Stafford's probably the highest ceiling. No, Stafford then Love ceiling wise.
I might say Love over Stafford ceiling.
Sure, but I think those two. I would have those two guys at one.
Done it a million times more. But I'm taking Stafford.
I think if the Eagles play Kenny Pickett in that game, they win. Or do they play Hurts, they lose. Does that sound outrageous?
Yes.
I think Pickett's good.
That's the kind of stuff that makes people go in the comments and say, get Jack off the show.
But I think Pickett's found a home.
Yeah,
he's from South Jersey, grew up a Birds fan. He's playing well.
It's crazy looking at the records.
Hurts is a bit injured.
When you look at the records of the NFC.
Ziggy, I'm totally serious too.
Oh, you can't be.
Oh, you're not.
Like you wouldn't rest Hurts one more week, let Pickett go and beat the Packers, and then get Hurts ready for that divisional round.
They lost to the Commanders.
All-time trolling.
No. Pickett was good. Like Pickett was really good that game.
He threw for 143 yards, a touchdown, and an interception.
That was Devontae Smith dropping a pass and they went down the game. That was not Pickett's fault.
A perfect pass.
Yeah.
A perfect pass.
Then he goes and rolls the Cowboys. I think he's found a home. Like you're telling me you'd rather injured Hurts than a healthy Pickett who's looking good?
I mean, you're convincing me.
I'd rather play a guy who's played MVP football before than Kenny Pickett. He's never played good in a big game in his life.
Talk about low lows. Jalen Hurts is probably lowest in the NFC.
I'm not doing this. I'm not entertaining this.
I want Pickett if I'm the Eagles in that first playoff game.
The 2, 3, 4
Packers fans would agree.
In the NFC, 13-3 record for Philly. 10 and I'm sorry, I have it currently as a tie right now in the Ram game. 11-6 for the Rams. Then you'd have 10-7 for the Bucks. The wild cards are all 12 wins or more. You're probably going to end up with a 12-win Packer, 12-win Commanders, 13-win Lions. Like that is just, I can't remember seeing wild card teams with these records.
Jaden Daniels going.
Could you imagine if we had the 6-team format and you had the Packers at 12-5 missing the playoffs?
Missing it, yeah.
Like the wild card teams in the NFC this year. I mean, look in the AFC. You had 10-7, 10-7, 10-7, or 11 wins maybe. You know, Houston's going to be at 10. Like the NFC teams, the records are just unbelievable this season. It's crazy.
That's the best we've seen. I feel like in a while out of a conference.
Also, I'm very confident that, especially in the NFC, exactly the 7 best teams are getting in. You know, sometimes you sit back and think, oh, there's a team that's playing hot that maybe got screwed or whatever. In the NFC, it's very clear who belongs and who doesn't, and all of them are making.
Unless if the Bucks screw up against who are they playing? The Saints this week. And the Falcons
Bucks lose to the Saints, I don't feel like they deserve to make it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think the best teams all got in. And it was a pretty clear, well, you know what the line was? Seattle. Seattle was the line.
Yeah, it is. 7, I'm going to go with the Packers. I think this is a good spot for the Packers. Still a team who, again, I don't want to play them. They're scary. A team who could beat anybody. But have fallen a little bit and have yet to show that, I mean, what, they're 0-5 now against the 3 NFC contenders. But what they did, again, in Minnesota to come back and have a chance to win the game at the end, one more stop, that just shows how explosive they
got real.
That they could be. I don't want to play them. They're probably not the best. They're probably not the best 3 teams in the NFC. They're probably there at number 4 and are probably clear number 4. But I think 7's a good spot for them right now.
Do you think they're closer to the Rams and the Bucks and the Commanders, or the Vikings, Eagles, and Lions right now?
I think I'd probably pin them up there with the Vikings, Eagles, and Lions. Like I think the Packers would beat the Rams or the Bucks.
Okay, I have them sliding at 7 too.
Yeah, I read an interesting piece. You know, Mike Sando, he always puts out these polls, right, on Monday to executives and stuff where people are asked to rank the top 7 teams in the NFC. The Lions, Vikings, and Eagles all perfectly split the 1, 2, and 3 votes. So the average there was 2. Wow. Every single person put the Packers at 4. And then there was chaos underneath about who to rank 5, 6, or 7. So it seems like basically everyone agrees the Packers are right between those top 3 teams and those bottom 3 teams. But I think you're right. On the evidence of the season, they belong closer to that upper tier. I have confidence that the Packers have a chance of beating one of those 3 teams. I know they're 0-5, but 4 of them have been very, very close. I don't have that much confidence that the Bucks or the Rams are going to be beating those top teams.
So maybe actually, when we talked about the Seahawks being the threshold for contender or not contender,
Maybe it's the Packers
in the NFC, maybe it's actually Green Bay. That actually makes way more sense.
But I do think Green Bay is probably a contender though.
Yeah,
I feel
absolutely.
like Seattle's the threshold for the contenders to beat.
Seattle's the threshold for playoff team. Green Bay's the
But
threshold
if
for
Contender's
contender.
a tier 1, the Packers are the 1B.
Yes, I think I'd agree with that. I also had them at 7
Yeah.
in my power rankings as well.
I had them as 6.